What's happening around the world and what's happening here at home? A very good evening to you and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Sandro Ferdinando. Let's take a quick look at your headlines for tonight.
Changes to the 20th Amendment will be brought during the committee stage in Parliament. Prime Minister informs the Cabinet.
කමිටු අවස්ථාවේදී සංශෝධන ඉදිරිපත් කරන අවස්ථාව ලැබෙනවා. ඒ සියල්ල අපි සැලකිලිට ගන්නවා. ඒ කෙසේවත්ම අපි මේ පනත අපසු ලබා ගැනීමක් හෝ හැරවීමක් සිදු කළා නැහැ.
The government is divided on the 20th Amendment, a revelation by the opposition.
ඉතින් ඒක මේ ආණ්ඩුව ඇතුළෙන්ම අර ප්‍රතිවිරෝධතාවයන් පුපුරලා ගිහිලා තියෙනවා.
කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයේ ඊයේ විශාල සාමාන්‍ය භාෂාවෙන් කියනවා නම් විශාල වලියක් ඇති වෙලා තියෙනවා.
Protests stir Ratnapura. Wild elephant attack in Siambalandua claims the life of a wildlife officer. Organised criminal Podilassi named as a suspect for threatening the President, Defence Secretary and security officials at the Bussa prison.
First up in local news, a tense situation arose during a protest that was staged opposite the Labour office in the Ratnapura district this afternoon. The demonstration had been staged against moves to relocate the officer in Avisabella.
The protest that was staged opposite the Labour office had continued for the second day today. The protesters had continued their demonstration by obstructing the Ratnapula-Colombo main road despite being informed of the court order by the police. Their request was to refrain from shifting the Labour office from Ratnapura to Avisavella. The protesters entered the Labour office during the demonstration. The Assistant Superintendent of the Ratnapura Police arrived at the location afterwards. The protesters dispersed after the Assistant Superintendent informed that he would intervene to resolve this issue.
Meanwhile, a group of students from the Kalaniya University marched towards the University Grants Commission today. The demonstration had been staged demanding to minimize the punishment imposed on some students who had been suspended. Some students at the university had been suspended for damaging CCTV cameras that were installed at the premises of the campus. The students were allowed to meet the chairman of the University Grants Commission, Professor Sampath Amratunga. However, the discussion had ended in a stalemate.
Those were some of the pictures that were captured when the traffic lane law was in effect. The lane law is being implemented in the Colombo city limits in a bid to ease traffic congestion.
The traffic lane law was implemented in the Sri Javardhanapura Road, Baseline Road, High Level Road and Gaul Road for the fourth day today. The law had been enforced from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., during which motorcycles, three-wheelers and buses had travelled on the same lane.
The roads are becoming congested. The traffic has increased. We have been travelling for several hours. We left Panadur at 6:30. We cannot travel in this manner. When small vehicles enter the lane, it is difficult for us to move. It has been half an hour since I was stuck here. We brought in pictures and videos to check what causes heavy traffic. Upon doing this, we learned that certain three-wheelers and bikes cause traffic. Following this pilot project on the 14th, 15th and on the 16th, we decided to assign the left side lane of roads for three-wheelers and motorbikes. Since we saw a success over this method, we decided to extend the time period the priority lane law will be in effect. What we are hoping now is to implement this law from next Monday, which is the 21st.
What happened to the report presented by the committee appointed by the Prime Minister to review to the draft 20th Amendment to the Constitution? Although it was due to be presented at the cabinet meeting yesterday, certain ministers said that it was not presented. It was announced at the cabinet media briefing that this report was discussed. What will happen now to the 20th Amendment? During the first cabinet meeting of the new government on the 19th of August, a cabinet subcommittee was appointed to draft the 20th Amendment to the Constitution. Ministers, President's Counsel Ali Sabri, Nimal Siripal de Silva, Dinesh Gunawardena, Uday Gammampila and Professor G.L. Piris were the members of that subcommittee. On the 2nd of September, a document titled 20th Amendment to the Constitution was presented to the Cabinet of Ministers and it was subsequently published on the Gazette. The 20th Amendment drew criticisms for both members of the Cabinet and the governing party afterwards.
Drafting legislations targeted at a certain individual was wrong then and it is wrong now. We need to draft legislations not by looking at the needs of specific individuals but focusing on the needs of the state and her people. After the president was appointed on the 16th of November, we know how the president led the country in the face of insurmountable challenges including COVID-19, the underworld and other terrorist activities. All of this was done when the 19th Amendment was in place. We didn't even have a majority in Parliament. Is there any reason why we single out the 19th Amendment?
In the face of these criticisms, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa appointed a committee to review the draft 20th Amendment to the Constitution. The committee, chaired by Professor G.L. Piris and included Uday Gammampila, President's Counsel Ali Sabri, Nima Siripala de Silva, Vimal Veeravansa, Susil Premajantha, S. Vialendran, Dilan Pereira and Premanath C. Dolewatta.
We saw a lot of criticism. All those criticisms will be included in this report. I believe that the President and the Prime Minister will respect our input.
This committee handed over their report to the Prime Minister on the 15th of this month and afterwards said that this report was due to be tabled at the cabinet meeting yesterday. However, ministers who attended the cabinet meeting yesterday said that the committee report was not discussed at the meeting.
It was not presented to the cabinet today. The president clearly said that he will accept the responsibility of this draft. He added that the 20th Amendment to the Constitution is a temporary provision and that a new constitution will be drafted soon. He also certified that any shortcomings will be rectified. It was not presented, but it was handed over to the president for a discussion. The president is the one who has taken the responsibility. He will make a statement on this soon.
ඉතින් මේක හදිස්සියෙම ඇවිල්ලා එකපාරට ගොළුවා සවබිව්වා වගේ නිස්සද්ද වුණා. අයියේ.
නෑ එහෙම නිශ්ශබ්ද වීමක් නෑ. කවුද කිව්වේ? ලොකුවට සාකච්ඡා කරා. කැබිනට් එකේ
නෑ,
කාලේ
ඊයේ
සීමාවෙන්
ඊයේ
භාගයකට 150කට වැඩිය ගත්තේ ඒ සම්බන්ධව.
ඊයේ කමිටුව වාර්තාව සම්බන්ධයෙන් මොනවද සාකච්ඡා වුණේ?
සාකච්ඡාවට බඳුන් වෙච්ච කරුණු
We are hoping to receive the committee report and discuss in depth regarding the content of the report. This committee was appointed by the Prime Minister. There could be many political issues here. We will be discussing these political issues, and if any changes need to be made, we will amend it accordingly.
ඉන්නේ අපිට අවශ්‍ය වෙනවා නම් යම් සංශෝධන ඉදිරිපත්.
විශ්ව අනුමත කරන්න ගැසට් කරන්න කලින් සාකච්ඡා කළේ නැහැ.
මූලික රාමුවට එකකතාවයක්.
There is consensus on the basic framework because we need to consider the input of the general public within that framework, and because it must be done democratically and transparently. The Cabinet of Ministers hope to hold more discussions on this matter.
අදහස් ඉදිරිපත් කරලා ඒ සම්බන්ධව සාකච්ඡා කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු.
යහපාලන ආණ්ඩුවට කරපු චෝදනාව තමයි හැමදාම පනත් ගේන අකුල ගන්නවා කියලා. දැන් අපිට පේන්නේ දැන් ඔබතුමාලත් ඒ වැඩියම නේද මේ කරන්නේ. ඉතින් එකපාරම හදලා ගෙනාන ඉවරයි.
කවුද එහෙම කිව්වේ?
දැන් ඔබතුමාලා කියවනේ
නෑ
සංශෝධන.
ඒක තමයි මේ සම්බන්ධව තියෙන සාධනීය කරුණු සම්බන්ධව තව සාකච්ඡා කිරීමට. මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් නැමැති මණ්ඩලයට
We gave the Cabinet of Ministers time to debate on this before we publish it on the Gazette. Amendments can be made during the committee stage. We will consider all of that. We have not taken any steps to withdraw or amend this draft.
අපසු ලබා ගැනීමක් හෝ හැරවීමක් සිදු කළා නැහැ.
මම අහන්නේ කැබිනට් එකට දැන් මේ මොකක් හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් වුණානේ දවංකම බුදුව පිළිගන්න ප්‍රශ්නයක් වුණාද නැද්ද?
මොකක් ගැනද ප්‍රශ්නේ?
නෑ.
දැන් ප්‍රශ්නයක් වුණාද කියලා අහපන්. මොකක් ගැනද ප්‍රශ්නේ කියලා අහන එක.
ඔව් මම අහන්නේ දැන් ඔබතුමාලා විශ්ව සංශෝධන සම්බන්ධයෙන් කැබිනට් එකට යම් පනතක් ඉදිරිපත් කරා. ඒ කැබිනට් එක අනුමත කරා. දැන් ඉතින් එහාට යන්න තමයි තිබ්බේ. හැබැයි දැන් ආපහු මේක හැරවිලා තියෙනවා.
දැන් වඩා පුළුල් වූ සංවාදයකට යා යුතුයි කියන මතවාදයක්. සම්බන්ධ වටිනාකමක් තියෙනවායි කියලා තේරෙනවා නේ. කමිටි ස්ටේජ් එකේදී දීර්ඝ වශයෙන් සාකච්ඡා කළ යුතුයි කියන මතයට ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා.
ලබන සතියේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ එනවද මේ?
තාම නුදුරු දිනක දෙක සිදු වෙන්න පුළුවන්.
69 ලක්ෂයක ජනවර.
They are trying to degrade the parliament that elected 117 with the mandate of 6.9 million people. This was an attempt to create a secondary system. There is opposition from within the government itself. Those will become political issues in the future when it comes to governance, financial and economic issues.
මේවා දේශපාලන ප්‍රශ්න බවටම පරිවර්තනය වේ.
මේ ව්‍යවස්ථාව නිර්මාණය
This amendment does not have a creator. There is no place to present facts. There has been a massive fight in the cabinet meeting yesterday for this makeshift amendment. We must accept this because when there is no creator and when there is no room for debate, this will be the outcome. The powers of the Prime Minister have been vested with the President. I do not think they will be able to secure 2/3 in Parliament.
මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ඒ අවශ්‍ය තුලින් දෙක ගන්න පුළුවන් කියලා.
බලාපොරොත්තුනේ කැබිනට්
We thought this will be presented to the cabinet. We do not know when it will be presented. There are various views on it from within the government as well. When the 19th is in effect, there is no hindrance for them to govern. According to media reports, there is a group within the government that does not accept parts of this. I believe there will be a discussion regarding this. The problem we have with them is that they supported the 17th, 18th and 19th amendments and are also planning to support the 20th amendment. If anyone is trying to move forward with the people's mandate, that is a historic mistake. If we take a look at the matters concerning dual citizenship, a Chinese national can provide 2.5 million rupees and claim that he is a Sri Lankan citizen and enter parliament. That is what is going to happen. The country seems to have embraced a trend to become a Chinese colony. This can apply to an Indian or an African as well. If someone yearns to engage in politics in the country, why can't they do that by re-announcing their foreign citizenship? The Tamil diaspora is on the rise. They have made several requests for dual citizenship. They can build their strength to the constitution and do what Pravakaran was unable to do. If we take a look at the provisions concerning procurement and auditing, we are in a very dangerous situation. We don't feel that a family can do whatever they want. We have passed that stage. Therefore, we feel that what must be done is to draft a new constitution following a broad discussion.
අපි හිතනවා වඩා පුළුල් සාකච්ඡාවකින් අලුත් ව්‍යවස්ථාවක් සම්පාදනය කර ගැනීම තමයි ඇත්ත වශයෙන් කළ යුත්තේ.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa engaged in an observation tour at the Colombo Port City today. This was in line with the 6th anniversary of the project.
The Prime Minister, who examined a model of the Port City project, had inquired about its progress. He also inspected the dockyard and the coastline before taking part in a game of golf at the proposed site of a golf park. The Prime Minister also planted a tree sapling at the central park of the Port City.
අනාගත ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ ප්‍රධානම
The port city will serve as Sri Lanka's main source of income in the future. 83,000 jobs will be created through it directly. The number of jobs that would have been created indirectly would have been more. An investment of $15 billion has been made in the port city. Therefore, I believe it would serve as an important economic hub in the future.
තාම වැදගත් ආර්ථික මධ්‍යස්ථානයක් බවට පත් වෙනවා.
The construction of the port city began on the 17th of September 2014 by reclaiming land spanning 269 hectares. The construction of a breakwater spanning 3.2 kilometers has already been completed.
In a story that made it to the headlines today, organised criminal Janitha Madhusanka alias Podilassi has been named as a second suspect in the case over levelling death threats against the President, Defence Secretary and senior prison officials at the Busa prison. This was following a request made by the Criminal Investigations Department to Gaol magistrates Harshana Kakunuwela.
The suspect, identified as Podilassi, had been produced in court based on a motion filed by the CID's Assistant Police Superintendent Meril Ranjan Lamaheva. Podilassi had been escorted to the Gaol Chief Magistrate Court amidst a tight security detail of police officers and police special task force personnel. The Chief Magistrate permitted the CID to visit the Busa prison and record a statement from Podilassi and ordered him to be remanded until the 25th of September. The CID also informed court that organised criminal Dharmakirtige Tharaka Pereira Vijayasekara alias Koskora Tharaka is also involved in the incident.
The people in villages that have been hit by the human-elephant conflict voted at this year's election with the hope of finding a solution to their problem. However, a wildlife officer fell victim to a wild elephant attack today, and he was a father of 2.
B.M. Dharmakumara, aged 42, was a wildlife field assistant who was attached to the Siambalandua Wildlife Office. He had gone to the Telmulla village this morning together with his colleagues to chase away a wild elephant. The operation began at around 11 a.m. However, Dharmakumara met this tragic fate after being attacked by a wild elephant that had advanced towards him. His colleagues involved in the operation had said that the wild elephant had remained in the area for a few minutes after the attack. Dharmakumara died upon admission to the Siambalandua hospital. We didn't hear the elephant approaching. However, in a few seconds we saw that it had emerged from the forest. A few of us climbed onto a tree. The elephant turned back. When we tried to locate the elephant, we spotted his body. We couldn't move closer to him as the elephant was there in the area. We retrieved his body in about 15 minutes. Who is responsible for the loss of these valuable lives due to the human-elephant conflict?
Residents of Thanamalwila are continuing their efforts to save the life of a wild elephant. This is the Kandiyapita River in Thanamalwila. Villagers claim that the elephant is wounded in its left leg and has been still in the same location for 2 months. Even though wild elephants encroach the village, the villagers, including the chief incumbent Theru of the village temple, have been feeding the elephant. According to the villagers, the elephant is being fed well every morning. It is the opinion of everyone that the life of this magnificent animal could be saved if treated properly.
Our Gammadha teams toured several villages today to inquire into the problems of the people that have not been limited to the conflict with wild elephants. Today is the 20th day of the Gammadha door-to-door initiative that is currently underway.
The government had reclaimed land in the Valipatambila area
in Ambalanthota to construct a fisheries port. However, boats are now forced to dock in the shore instead of a port in the area. This is because the project that began in 2011 is yet to be completed. A breakwater had been constructed under the first phase of the project. However, the fishing port is yet to be constructed. Sand has been accumulated on one area of the site of the proposed port since the breakwater has been constructed only on one side. As a result, sand can be found in the fishing port and not on the coast. The people of Sumudugama in Trincomalee earn a living through the fisheries industry near the Back Bay fishing port. Since 1998, these residents have been hoping to live in a house equipped with facilities, but their hopes are yet to be realized.
When Mahinda Rajapaksa was the fisheries minister in 1998, he addressed us opposite a nursery that was here and said that flats would be constructed for us. He said that he would declare it open and vest it with us.
However, 126 families in the area still live in shacks. The encroachment of wild elephants in the Ihala Iribasav area in Mahava is a common occurrence in the village. These villagers told our Gammadha team that they are forced to purchase firecrackers even if they cannot purchase rice. They spend their nights in tree houses to protect themselves from wild elephants. Crops that are cultivated in the morning are destroyed at night. The only request of these villagers is for an electric fence. Meanwhile, Cabinet has given the approval to make amendments to 5 laws and Labour Acts on juvenile offenders yesterday.
The Cabinet has approved a proposal to amend the labour laws to increase the age limit for employees to 16 years. As per the current laws, the minimum age for employment is 15 years. However, it was pointed out that all should have their education up to 16 years of age. Therefore, going forward, all of those who are 16 years and above will be eligible for employment. Meanwhile, Cabinet approval has been granted to amend the Children and Youth Ordinance and the Youth Offenders Ordinance. Accordingly, the government stated that it would take steps to ensure that those under the age of 18 are not imprisoned as children for any offence. The age limit is currently 16.
You're with News First, and up next is Action TV.
The Ceylon Electricity Board's Deputy General Manager has said that the people in the country had been inconvenienced due to the negligence of the CEB management that had caused intermittent power failures that resulted in severe delays while restoring power to those areas. He had made these remarks in a letter that had been sent to the General Manager of the CEB. The letter dated yesterday showed that the recommendations of the report published by a Canadian company on the total failure of the power transmission system that occurred on the 27th of September 2015 has not been implemented yet. In his letter, the Deputy General Manager of the Information Technology Unit had also referred to an SMS that he had sent to the CEB General Manager on the 17th of August at 2:33 p.m. following the failure of the power transmission system. The message reads as follows: Please take action to mobilize control systems center staff to remove bulk-scale consumers with active generators from the system until total power restoration is completed. Definitely, it will reduce the restoration time, which helps to restore embedded generations also. The Deputy General Manager of the Information Technology Unit had stressed that the total failure of the power transmission system could have been managed if the relevant action had been taken based on his message. He pointed out that the country's transmission system and the protection system are currently in a vulnerable position. According to the Deputy General Manager, the entire power supply would not have failed, even due to an accident, if the systems were in a good condition. In his letter, he adds that failing to develop these systems would result in island-wide power failures to an extent in which they cannot be restored. A copy of the letter has been sent to the Minister in charge. The final report of the committee appointed by the Minister to probe the island-wide power outage on the 17th of last month is due to be handed over next week. Although the committee is said to be independent, 3 officials on the CEB and the Ministry have been included in it. It must be emphasized that this is a conflict of interest.
A special ceremony to mark the 156th birth anniversary of Sir Anagarika Dharmapala was held today at the Maliga Kanda Mahabodhi Agrashraka Mahavihara today. The event was presided by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa received the blessings of the Maha Sangha after paying homage to the relics of the chief disciples Sariputta and Mugallana. Floral tributes are paid to the statue of Sir Anagarika Dharmapala. Many Sri Lankan Buddhists do not know how to get my support or do not seek my support. I believe that I can move forward on a sacred path with the President. I realize that because the address delivered by him during his swearing-in ceremony has been recorded in Dharmapala's diary. If you believe in reincarnation, you are the current Anagarika. That is because you do not consume meat. Anagarika Dharmapala lived on this land across this window. That is the education ministry in which Anagarika Dharmapala had served. That is the house where Anagarika Dharmapala lived. The education ministry, several years back, attempted to construct a 10-storied building at this location. I told them not to lay their hands on that. Today it has become a small museum. We can convert this into a museum. However, it now lies with the education ministry. It is not a difficult thing to do.
And finally, in some entertainment news, Vikkari, a Sri Lankan short film by Sandun Semiratna, has been selected to be screened in October this year at the Screamfest Horror Film Festival, one of the largest genre festivals in the world.
Vikkari features Sri Lankan stars Ashan Dias, Bimsara Premaratna and British actor Richard D. Roberts and will premiere at Screamfest in Los Angeles in October of this year.
The Screamfest Horror Film Festival is one of the largest genre festivals in the world. I felt elated and very proud that we were the first Sri Lankan film to be screened at Screamfest Horror Film Festival. And Richard D. Roberts is an amazing British actor. When it came to Sri Lankan actors, Ashan Dias is, I think, one of the most talented up-and-coming actors there are. And Bimsara Premaratna did an incredible job as well. They are both, I think, one of the most talented actors in Sri Lanka. Vikkari is about, it's a science fiction short film. It's about the birth of babies around the world with a similar set of deformities, which causes a worldwide panic. Scientists rule out disease as a cause, but the actual reason could be far more terrifying. The film will be released online in November, and the trailer will be released next month. The film will have its world premiere at the Screamfest Horror Film Festival in October, on the 6th of October.
Vikkari becomes the first Sri Lankan short film to be selected by Screamfest, placing it in the legendary company with horror sensations such as Paranormal Activity and The Grudge, which made their premieres in previous years.
And with that, wrap up news for tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. Do take care and good night.